Hey, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm Joey's mom.
Hey, Claire. So can you tell me, what was it like figuring out that Joey had cerebral palsy?
When we finally got the diagnosis, it was a relief. We had been knowing for a long time that something was going on, but when we went to the doctors, it was always dismissed. He was premature. He was born 2 months early, so it was always chalked up to he was premature and he'll catch up. But the longer it went on, the more I knew something was wrong. So not getting a diagnosis was very frustrating, but when we finally did, it was a relief.
How old was Joey when you finally got a diagnosis?
He was about 3.
What was it like those years what were they saying to you?
They just kept saying he's a preemie, he'll catch up, he might have some problems. But there was never, well, this is something that happened to him and he has a diagnosis and here's what we can do to treat this.
So how did you finally discover that he had cerebral palsy?
We switched doctors. We went to a new pediatrician, and within 2 minutes of walking in, he looked at my son and he said he's had a stroke and he has cerebral palsy.
And how did that feel?
It was a relief. It was a relief to finally know, to be able to, have a name for what was happening and know that there were other people who were going through this and there were ways to help him.
Did your whole family respond with that same celebration?
No, my mother was devastated. Of course, she's thinking that he's going to be in a wheelchair for life. He won't be able to feed himself or, bathe himself like many children with cerebral palsy. But Joey has a very mild case. So we did not have to experience that level.
So you have put him in a preschool with a lot of kids with cerebral palsy. What did you witness as the scope of what cerebral palsy can mean for a family or an individual?
Right, so there's a huge difference in the levels of functionality with children with cerebral palsy. Some have very mild cases. They can walk without braces. They can do all daily tasks for themselves. And then there are some children who are completely wheelchair bound, have to be fed and changed and bathed. So there's a big difference.
Does cerebral palsy affect people's intellectual development or their learning curve?
I actually don't know the different ways it affects on their educational abilities. My son is very smart. He's had problems with concentration, some reading and writing, but overall he's very smart. And I don't know if he didn't have cerebral palsy, if he would not have had those problems, or if those are problems he would have had anyway.
So it sounds like there's a lot of mystery left
There
around
is.
cerebral
Yes.
palsy. So you have had an opportunity. Have you had an opportunity to meet other parents with children with mobile motor disabilities, and how do they cope?
Well, I think every parent I've met who has a child with a disability is absolutely coping and mostly thriving, really, because it forces you to. When you have a child who needs you, and that any child needs you, but when you have a child who needs you in that way, you rise to the occasion.
So you've seen families thriving no matter what they seem to get
absolutely, absolutely. And any diagnosis is hard, and I think any level of disability is hard to cope with as a family, not only for the parent, but for the child, the whole family involved. But parents are going to love their kids no matter what, no matter what, they have to deal with in life. They're going to be there for them, and they're going to love them.
Is there anything you would want a younger you to know, or you would want a parent out there to know who might have gone through some of the struggles you've gone through? Do you have anything to offer them that might make their journey easier?
I think to trust yourself, that if you have concerns, to speak up. Doctors are not always right. They are not God. And you as a parent are there with them all the time. You see things that they don't see. You have observations to make. So definitely trust your gut and speak up.
Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you.